Hello everybody, this is Brandon's Baked Beans here with a little tutorial tip on how to repair motor shafts that have begun to slip on your Toothpick. So I'm running these Happymodel, what are they? They're 1102 motors, and these motors here, they have a 1.5 millimeter shaft. Because the amount of friction on the prop to the large shaft motor, the amount of torque that you have there, can sometimes overcome the actual bond that the shaft has with the bell itself. So what will end up happening, and that's begun to happen on this one, is, I don't know if I can see this, but if we can see, let me see if I can zoom in here. If you look at that inner clip there, if I hold the bell and I twist this, it actually spins the whole shaft. The bell is stationary, it's spinning the whole shaft. So when I give it, let me zoom back out here, when I give it, hard punch outs, what will end up happening is it's this prop and the entire shaft rather is actually slipping while the motor is driving the bell, because the bell has the magnets on it. So that's actually been driven, and so it's kind of grabbing and slipping, so it's kind of going like a whoa. And at first I thought it was something with the tune, and I've been working on the tune, and it's actually been kind of a pain in the butt. And I'm realizing now, I think this thing's been slipping a little bit more and more each day, and it just gets more and more troublesome for me. So today I'm going to fix it. It's actually really easy to fix. These Happymodel motors are so delicate. I love them because they're lightweight, and I know how to fix this problem, but a lot of people hate them for this issue, and that is that when you're installing the props, sometimes pressing them on will actually overcome the bond of the shaft to the bell, and it will just break that bond. And I don't know if they're press fit or glued or what, but once they start slipping, they're basically gonna slip until you fix them or throw them away or replace them. So there's a couple things you can do to prevent this from happening. When I press them on, I actually use a board with a nail in it, and I take that nail and I stick the head of the nail right into this little spot here, so that when I'm pressing the prop on, I'm not actually putting any force on the motor itself. It's all on the shaft. I'm pushing prop against shaft, shaft against nail, and nail against my workbench here. So that's the way I do that. And the other thing you can do when you remove them, and I think Bob might have suggested this a long time ago, is you actually just clip them off. So what I do is I'll just take these diagonal cutters, and I'll just cut kind of like, not right on the center, but kind of like off center a little bit. And you don't even have to cut all the way. You just kind of have to like stretch the plastic so that they just come right off. And what you don't want to do, and this is a habit I inherited from the whoops, brushless whoops. On brushless whoops, the motor shaft is only 1 millimeter, and you're able to grab the bell and twist the prop off. You can just, do I have a brushless whoop here? Well, I don't have a brushless whoop with 802s. It has 1102s, which is the same problem actually. So the problem is, when you go with the larger shaft diameter, you have more torque here on the shaft mating to the prop. You have more torque here, and that torque, when you're trying to overcome that torque, because you're trying to twist it off the shaft, it can actually overcome the bell, the bond to the bell. So anyway, enough of that talking. Let's just go ahead and pull this apart, and I'll show you how easy it is to fix. So is this the right one? Yeah, this is the one. So I'll test them by giving them a little twist. You don't want to actually break them, because they are weak. But this is the one here. So I learned this from Aaron Ciotti. I was watching one of his streams. I mentioned it in chat, and he linked me to somebody else that taught him how to page, or rather a video on YouTube, and I can't remember that guy's name. but I have it saved. If I remember, I'll link it in the description. But I'm going to go over basically the exact same process here. They used a Loctite binding compound. It's not super cheap. It's probably like 10 to 15 bucks a bottle. You might have to pay 20 bucks for it, but I mean it's going to last forever. So this is Loctite 648 retaining compound. So it's a retaining compound. So what this is for like a pin shaft retaining compound. This stuff sets up in seconds. Okay, the less air you have in the mating surface, the faster it bonds. So it's a what they call an anaerobic bond. So it happens fast. I mean, you got to get it pressed in there and where you want it within 3 seconds, or it's trash. Because there's no way you're going to get this out. It's got like 3,400 pounds per square inch of braking force after you do this. So okay. So actually, I should add. Next time, it's probably not going to be a next time because I'm not going to replace this. This is going to last a long time. But you might have better luck buying the 638. The 638 has, I think it's only like 2,000 pounds per square inch of braking force to break the bond. And I believe it gives you more of a couple minutes of working time. This one said that it had like 3 minutes of working time, but it seriously is like less than 20 seconds. It's probably less than 10 seconds. And that's probably just because of the tolerances of these tiny little motors. The other compound, it says it's like 20 minutes working. So I imagine that it's going to give you a little bit more. But the nice thing about this is it's almost like super glue. I mean, I'll put this down, I'll go make some coffee, and then I'll be flying again. All right, so let's see if I can zoom in. I don't want to leave anybody out on this process here. Basically, we gotta pop out this clip, and if you don't want it to go flying, oh my goodness, I'm making a mess here. You can use some of this blue tack and just kind of straddle it over there. And then I'm just using a prop tool, like a tiny loop prop tool. It's just the first thin little piece of metal I had, and I think I got it. I think I got it off. Just like that. Oh. This is a pain in the butt sometimes. There it goes. I think I might have been pushing on the little washer instead. Anyway. Get this knife out of here. Don't use a knife. That's a horrible idea. Got a little magnetic parts tray here. It's right out of frame, but I'm just dropping my parts into it. Alright, there's a tiny little washer, and if you were, oh geez, if you're an idiot like me, it looks like I might have damaged it a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. There's a little brass washer, and I do have extras of these. This is one of the thin kinds. Where am I? These Happymodel motors use a thick one, a thick one and a thin one. This is actually the thin one. The thick one is normally supposed to go on the outside. Do I have two there? Oh my goodness. Okay, so sometimes they pack in more shims than they need to, and we'll fix that right now. Sometimes they do that to take out the slack when they assemble them badly. Well, I assume that's right, actually. I don't know if that's true or not. So we'll take them, oh jeez. So we'll take both of these out. There is a thick and a thin is what it looks like they put in here. Can I get in frame? It's really hard to see the profile on the side, but I believe this one is a thicker one. Can you see that? I don't know if that's actually going to be visible on camera, but for me it's pretty clear. The one on the top of the frame is like paper, like thinner than paper. it's like foil thin, and then this one is a little bit thicker. Let's see if I can get the edge to glare a little bit. You can kind of see that. Okay. Alrighty then. When I assemble it, I'm just going to put the thicker one back in. The thinner one, I kind of dented it anyway. All right, let's get back to the actual process here. Where are we? Okay, so then I'll just pull this guy out, and sometimes they get stuck in the bearings. The shaft gets stuck in the bearings sometimes. This one's definitely moving. There it goes. Alrighty. So I pulled it apart nice and gentle. I'm getting my nails on the mount to grab it. I got my slightly longer nails here to grab the mount because I don't want to actually grab any of the wires on the stator at all. This is delicate, and we're just going to be really gentle with that. I'm just going to move it out of frame. This is what we're working with here. And I don't know if you noticed, I didn't even take the prop off. I don't think I need to take the prop off. The prop, if I try to take that off, it's just going to cause problems. So we're just going to leave it on. Very gently. Oh, by the way, if you try to pull this thing off all the way and you're not using these kind of tweezers, the kinds with the grips on them, you can kind of expect that thing to just kind of pop away and fly. I stopped pulling these are my watchmaker tweezers. I stopped pulling it up sideways because once I got it off the shaft, it was probably just going to go boing and just chuck off. So two ways I can approach this is I can grab it by the side here and pull it off like so, or you know, if you can come at it with these kind of tweezers where you can actually kind of grab it a little more securely. So we'll drop that off. And I didn't show you, but this one is one of the super thin ones. So usually they put one of the super thin little ones boop, 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 right there. They just put it right there. So then it sits between the stator and the bell itself. All right, so let's figure out this guy. So it's twisting. So I should be able to just push it right off. There it goes. Oh, by the way, let's get you in frame. So what I did is I just gave it a little twist, and then I'm pushing it down onto my workbench just like this, just like that. And then, you know, I'm just going to twist it out the rest of the way. All right, this looks pretty clean. It doesn't look like there's any glue in there at all. I've seen it where there's a little bit of stuff in there. I can see kind of a slight, oh, let's get this in frame, slight fogginess right here on the shaft, but you can barely see that at all. So yeah, they're not really held in all that well. All right, so there's an E clip or a C clip, whatever. There's a clip, retaining clip, right? Focus, focus, focus. Hi camera, there we go. Right there at the under the prop, I'm going to leave that in place. I'm going to slam that all the way against the bell. That's how I do it every single time. It works for me. It works really well, actually. So I'm going to go get something to clean this. This is just alcohol prep pad. Okay, so what I'm going to do is shake this stuff. This stuff is kind of a weird bottle dispenser. So it's this green fluid, and you take a razor blade and you slice off the top, but not too far. You want just like a pinhole. And there's this large cavity here, and it's really bizarre, and it's barely filled up. And that's a feature. There's supposed to be lots of oxygen in here, because if there's no oxygen in here, it will start curing. So I'm going to just kind of, see, tip it over. Okay, tip it over and you let it flow, and just don't even squeeze it. Just let it drop out, and that's it. I'm going to cap this back up. I'm done with this. I didn't even squeeze it. Just let it flow. Now you'll see why this is going to last like forever. It's 10 milliliters. It cost me $15 a year ago. It was around Christmas, I think. All right, so we're just gonna, oh geez, I don't remember exactly how I do this. I think I'm just gonna take some of this and I shove it in the hole. I'm gonna clean up the excess. The excess won't cure because it's gonna be exposed to oxygen. So you don't need to worry about the excess. All the excess will be fine. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about that. So I'm gonna take this guy. It's gonna happen pretty fast. So I'm going to, oh geez, I don't really remember. Do I have a hole or anything? I think I'm just gonna flip it over and press it down all the way to the collar. Alrighty, here we go. That's it. All right. Just gonna let it dry or cure, and we'll do the cleanup. So, but you can see it is pressed all the way to the retaining clip, and I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up here. What you don't want to do is reassemble your motor. If you reassemble it now, and any of this green stuff gets down in the bearing, it's not going to mess up the bearing, but it will seize to the inner race of the bearing, and you will never be able to pull this motor apart. I'm speaking from experience. I have one motor on this quad, and one of the motors will not ever be able to be pulled apart. So if it starts slipping, I'm gonna have to toss it. There's literally, I mean, or maybe bang on it with a hammer. But I mean, if you're banging on a bearing, you know, the bearing is this way, and you're banging on it this way, you're just gonna smash the bearings into the race, and you're just gonna make it all grind. You know, you'll trash it. All right. I just realized I made an error actually, that I said that if this stuff, retaining compound, if it ever gets down into the bearing on the stator, that top bearing, that this will be trashed at that point. You won't be able to disassemble the motor. I just realized that I'm actually not correct about that. What you could actually do on these motors in particular is you get the prop off, you get that clip off, and then you can get the bell out off the top of the motor, and the shaft would then be retained because the retaining compound would be stuck in the bearing. The shaft would stay, the bell would come off. That's all. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. So I'm giving a little twist. I don't want to break it, but yeah, it's holding. Oh yeah. Okay, so we're assembling this. First step, thin washer. I'm gonna pull that off. I see a little bit of this blue tack stuck to it. What I really need to do is get a product, oh my goodness. There's a product in the watchmaking world called Rotagray or Rota something. I can't remember what it's called. Rot something. I'm gonna have to. I'll find a link to it maybe. It's a watchmaking compound. It looks almost exactly like blue tack, but it's like a green color, and we use it to clean watch movements, and we use it to grab tiny little parts. Little washers and gears and stuff. I dabble in watchmaking. I should probably add that. Alright, so we got that on there. This is the thin one, by the way. Where's my motor? Now this guy's just going to kind of suck right in, and I don't want it to slam that tiny thin little washer, so I'm going to try to guide it in. There we go. Alright, the thick washer I could probably grab with my fingers. It's a little bit thicker. There it is. I gotta get in a little closer to see what I'm doing. Pop that guy on. There it goes. I'm pushing it down past the retaining clip groove. Now, usually what I'll do is I have this magnetic parts tray here. Let me zoom out a bit. And I'll grab this busted tiny woo prop tool here. I'll just rub it down here. And it's going to magnetize it a little bit. And I'll just grab that that clip that way. And this is what I'm going to use. So let me go ahead and zoom in here. I'll show you all my techniques. Alright, am I in frame? Yeah. Now it's wanting to stick to the shaft. Don't do that. There we go. Alrighty. Whoop, whoop. Don't fall out. Oh gosh, I'm slipping all over the place, Brandon. Alright. Am I in frame? Okay, I am. Alright, I'm going to push it in. So if you're at all worried about this, you can push it in with some blue tack, but I mean like literally just kind of put this on top of it and just kind of push through it. I don't really want to do that because it requires some cleanup. Alright, I'm going to get firmly behind it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to use this side. Yeah, this side right here. There it goes. Pop. That snapped right in. There it goes. So you can see it is level and in the groove, and it's not like, you know, slanted and just barely hooked in there. So that's that. I'm going to screw this back together, put a little Loctite in there.